Yeah, I wonder what my dad would think of me mucking around with this car now. He'd probably say, "Why did you take it to a racetrack, you pillock? It's taken you ages to fix this car, and I love this car." Oh well, hopefully he's going to be, would be touched that I was spending the time on it and thinking about him and remembering him. Anyway, time now to see if these 12-point socket sets are actually going to help me. These bolts for the clutch slave cylinder. See if I can eke them around a little bit at a time. I still think it's going to be quite hard work, but hopefully it'll be easier than bleeding the clutch. Let's see. Okay, so I've spent, I don't know, probably not long, 10 minutes, it feels like ages, kneeling in an awkward position so I can see the bolt. And so first I used the extension, small, shorter extension, this thing, and the socket ratchet thing, but that didn't seem to work, it wasn't the right length. So then I just started using the longer length. How long this is? And this, and then putting it on, twisting it around as far as I could, taking it off, twisting it around, and I'm not really sure that it's actually I'm really not sure that it's coming off or not. I suppose you should be able to see. It feels loose. It's so frustrating because I feel like I just should be able, I just can't get my fingers in to just twist it off normally. And with that stupid bit of curled piping in the way. Yeah, it just gets me really hot as well. It's a sunny day. I've got all the garage doors shut to keep the sort of cool in and the heat out, but just kneeling in that awkward position is really just makes me hot. So what are we going to do now? This is ridiculous. Do I carry on sweating? I probably need to ask for more advice. I mean, this kind of helps, this new 12-point thing, because at least it's a lot easier to get it on, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure it's undoing the bolt. This is the top one as well, I haven't even tried the bottom one. So the bolt is now coming off for the clutch slave cylinder. Well, the top one is coming off because I don't know, it's but two things. I think one, I've found something I can sit on rather than kneeling in an awkward position. So I turned this bucket thing upside down. And two, I took out some other 13mm bolts that hold on the coil in place. I did try that before, but the combination of, which didn't work on its own, the combination of the 12-point socket set, 12-point socket, 13mm socket in this case, and let's see, how can you see this? And it's not doing it, is it? And I couldn't get my phone up there really. So I removed, you can see the things I removed there just under the coil. You can see there, so I can move the coil a slight bit. It still doesn't move much, but it gives me enough wiggle room, plus the 12-point socket. Two, I don't know if you can see up in there. Is it? You can see that coming off. Right there. Yeah, so it's starting to come off, the one in. Right. Yep. So I did it. This is the bolt, top bolt. I'll start these next bolt. So once it came out, after sitting on my plastic bucket thing and using the 12-point socket and this attachment first, so I could get a decent leverage, and then once it came out a certain way, I could then use this, as I presume in the way it's meant to be used. And this thing swivels around. Eventually I could twist it reasonably quickly, but it took a while, and I'm quite sweaty now. Okay, so I'm pretty pleased with myself. I mean, I guess I could have saved myself a bit of time in the long run if I'd known, but this coil and the pipe work around here is reasonably flexible, and obviously I don't really want to take responsibility if you break it, but it is a bit bendier than I thought. They're now metal pipes, but I've bent, some people said bend them down, up to get out of the way so you get to this bottom bolt, but I ended up bending it towards me as I'm facing it now, which is towards the front of the car and down, and that's allowed me, as you can see, to get the and I used actually one of the flexible attachments and then the 13mm socket as well as the ratchet here. And actually, so once I moved that coil, it was dead easy, but I didn't find my extension was too long, and this flexible head, which I've seen before, I won't take it off now because it's on, and I don't really want to take it off until I've got the thing off. Yeah, that worked really well. So you see where I am. I'm facing the back of the car, and I've pulled the pipes towards me, and this is working a treat. So I've got this thing off, see? And I suppose the pipes have to be flexible, otherwise you won't be able to get the clutch out, thinking about it. I guess I'm just a bit nervous on moving things and forcing things too much, especially since I forced the cam belt. That feels so satisfying. Yeah, oh, I'm not focusing it. Focus on that. Come on. Yeah, that's it. And 13mm nut out of the bottom of there, and I think it's fluffy now. I'm using it. How are we going to get this out? Well, is it just going to fall out or what? I'm probably labouring the point here. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, so I've got it out. I just used a screwdriver to push from behind, and it kind of pulls out here. Right, come on. See, it just seemed very tight compared to other people's I've seen pull it out. Right, yeah. Okay, so now it's really gives you an idea how flexible the pipes are. Ooh. Now you can see the way it works. That rubbery bit presumably pushes on something in the transmission, the clutch. Alright, so I'm going to move it out of the way there. Should can I just put so it's kind of wedged out of the way. I'm hoping that's enough. I suppose if I move these, I might tie that up later. Hey, so I feel so good now that I have got these things off. So there's two slightly golden ones were the ones holding the tubes onto the transmission, and the two silvery ones were the ones that were holding the clutch slave cylinder in. And so, well, my biggest tips for removing the clutch slave cylinder, I think the biggest tip is the hydraulic fluid line going to it is a lot more flexible than I thought and you might think, because it's metal, but it is quite, you can push it around quite a bit and it won't split or break, or come away from the attachment. So yeah, push it around a bit to get access. Second thing I'd say is a lot of people talking about 6-inch attachment. What's that? So yeah, I haven't got a 6-inch attachment. I've got looks like a 5-inch attachment and a 10-inch attachment. Is that metric? Is that like no, 5-inch and 10-inch. So mine, yeah, it wasn't very easy to get in. I even think with a 5-inch attachment, it was pushing on pipes and stuff. It's not very easy access. So what helped me was this, and then having this bent down. Without this flexible attachment, for me and my car, the way it is at the moment, for whatever reason, I think it would have been really difficult without this. Also, the 12-point is a big help, I think. Maybe you can do it with the other things and without the 12-point socket, but I think this 12-point socket is really useful. I'm quite glad I bought these things. I'm sure they're going to be really useful in the future. In fact, I'll probably use these first on a lot of jobs. Okay, I hope that's useful to someone, and I am enthused after my success. Probably should also mention that I used my phone to see the lower bolt, because I couldn't really get my head high enough in there to see it otherwise. So I used my phone and then fingers to assess where it was. Used a sort of line of sight from the top down, so I knew when I used the socket whereabouts to poke it, and then I used feel. Yeah, it worked pretty well. That's one of the reasons I normally wear gloves, but I think so I could feel everything that was going on. I didn't today. Just like to also say that there are days when I've been doing this and I've thought I should have just given it to the professionals or just sell the car, but yeah, today is one of those good days where I just think, I'm really pleased that even though some of the knowledge is quite basic certainly to a Porsche mechanic, that I've managed to find out what I needed to know, or either through books, the internet, forums, or YouTube, or just working it out really. So yeah, it does give me a feeling of satisfaction. So would I recommend you do it yourself? Only if you really want to. This is my dad's car, and so I don't really want to give it up, and for me it's nice to spend time on